Hey guys, this is Will at Third and Long. Today we are going to be breaking down Deion Sanders. Will he stay or will he go? He is having a really good year this year, but what's the future plans for Deion Sanders? Does he plan on staying at Colorado long term? Does he plan on staying there only 2 to 3 years? What will happen if he does go? Where will he go? So that's what we'll be looking into today. Hit that like button and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get started. Now, just to make this clear, I do not foresee Deion Sanders going to the NFL. I know there's been a lot of chatter on that, but I don't think that's happening. Number one, I don't think an NFL owner will hire him as of right now. Why? Number one reason, he hasn't been at Division I that long. So I think you have to at least be there at least 5 years to me before you make the jump to the pros. It's very rare that they hire someone out of the college ranks, and they usually fail. So I think owners will be really skeptical to just hire someone as of right now out of Division I with Deion Sanders' resume, just because he hasn't been at Division I very long. So we'll be mainly focusing on college destinations. Now, Deion Sanders is not a regional guy. He's a national guy. He's famous. Everybody knows Deion Sanders. Everybody loves Deion Sanders. So he doesn't have to go someplace regionally for recruiting purposes, but he can really honestly go anywhere that he wants to go. But if he leaves, he's not taking a step down. So he's obviously staying at the Division I level, but it has to be a bigger program. He's turned Colorado basically into the epicenter of college football. So he can do that anywhere. So who's going to pry him out of what he built there? There's a couple schools to me that I have in mind, but mainly the job has to be open. That's number one. And it has to be a place to where he could see him doing better or bettering his position. Number two, Shedeur Sanders. What is he going to do? Does he leave after this year? Does he come back for one more year? As of right now, he is a projected first-round pick. Would he come back and possibly get injured? I don't know. But he might come back just to play with his dad and just to help his dad build a better program at Colorado. So that's a 50-50 thing to me. So if he comes back, obviously Deion would stay one more year. Now, I don't foresee Deion leaving after 1 year. That'd be really quick. He could be 2 or 3 more years. But if Sanders leaves, and when he leaves, he has to get another quarterback. Could he get a transfer portal guy? Possibly. Would he have to recruit a guy? Possibly. But that causes kind of a big hole to be filled. The offensive coordinator, Lewis, he's been really hot right now. He's young. He was a head coach at Kent State. He obviously wants to head coach somewhere else. So he could leave. And that coordinator hole could cause Deion Sanders to potentially go somewhere else. Because why change over the whole staff? Just have a fresh start somewhere. So there's a lot of things that could move in the next couple of years that would cause Sanders to go somewhere else. Also, NIL has greatly helped him out. But obviously you can't bring over 50 players every year. That was a one-time thing. He will still use NIL, but he's going to have to also recruit to keep that foundation, and then NIL will just be complementing the players you are bringing in. So now that he's built the program up, he has to start laying the foundation and getting depth. Second, third string players. So the number one location, and don't laugh, so we'll be working down from the least best options down to what I consider the best options. But the number 5 option, let's say, we'll look at 5 schools, is the Baylor Bears. Don't laugh here. The reason that I picked the Bears, Dave Aranda, things are not going well. He won the Big 12 a couple of years ago, and it's been spiraling down since then. He's 1-2 this year. They don't look like they're getting any better. They're just getting into conference play. There's a lot of teams that are probably going to beat the brakes off of him. I like him. He was a great coordinator, but things are looking hot right now. Might he survive this year? Yes. Might he get one more season? Yes. After next season, if he's going 6-6, he's getting fired. There's no doubt he could technically get fired this year, but I think he'll get one more year. And if he gets fired next year, Deion will have had 2 years at Colorado. Could he go to Baylor? Why would he go to Baylor? Recruiting. It's Texas, so to me, it's a better recruiting ground. Now, Deion can recruit anywhere, but why have to work as hard at Colorado? If you're in Baylor, they're already in your state, and I think it's a better program technically. Money-wise, brand-wise, I to me, personally think that Baylor is a better program. They've shown in recent history, within the last 10 years, that they can be a top 10 team without Deion. So Deion, knowing who Deion is, he will say, well, if they made it a top 10, then I'll make it a top 5. So I think Baylor is definitely on the radar due to money, stadium, fan base, and Deion played in Texas for the Cowboys. So living in Texas and the Texas atmosphere, he's familiar with that. So I think Baylor is the 5th best option, and it's a job that could realistically open up. Next, Michigan State. This would be if Deion were to leave after year 1. I do not foresee that happening, but could it happen? Yes. Mel Tucker is a complete disaster. I laughed when they gave him that massive contract. The guy was not a good coach. He had a lot of transfer players who played well one year, and then the real Mel Tucker showed up, who's basically a garbage coach. It is what it is. And he's obviously supposedly getting fired due to what he has going on off the field there. That's a really good job. Michigan State has a lot of money, and they have a lot of prominence in football, basketball, really good sports program. Plus, it's the Big Ten. Would Deion basically want to test his mettle in the Big Ten and make the jump there? Potentially. Now, the schedule would obviously be a whole lot tougher, but I think Michigan State is a possibility if Deion were to leave after 1 year, because that job is probably going to be open this offseason. I don't think he does. I don't think he leaves after 1 year. That, to me, would not be the right thing to do, and I think he's better than that. So, but it's a really good job. So I definitely have to put it on the radar there. Number 3 job that I'm looking at. A lot of people have this listed at number 1, but I think it's number 3. Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher. What a complete disaster this guy is. This guy, they gave him just shy of a $100 million contract. He left Florida State a hot mess. Jumped ship, went to the Aggies. He recruits well. That guy can recruit high school players, but oh my God, like he finally just gave up the reins as the offensive coordinator to Bobby Petrino, but you're paying this guy $8-9 million per year for what? To go 5-7, like in his 5th, 6th year at the program? That's ridiculous. If they don't make a bowl game this year, he's getting canned this year. I think they'll make a bowl game. I think he'll get 1 more year. I honestly do, because I think the Aggies will make the run at Deion, and they know they can't do it after he's been there 1 year. They'll give Jimbo 1 more year to be a hot mess, and then they'll fire him. He'll get his massive payout, and then Deion could go to Texas for the same reasons that I listed for Baylor, except the Aggies are better than Baylor. Better school, better program, better stadium, more money, and a bigger brand for Deion going to the SEC to dominate. So I definitely think the Aggies. Now, some people have them at number 1, but I actually have them at number 3 because I think there's 2 dark horse candidates as 1 and 2. But the Aggies as number 3. Number 2. Who's the number 2 program? This is kind of a dark horse. I've not heard anyone say this. The North Carolina Tar Heels. You might be laughing. Now, this is a difference between the other schools because Mac Brown's not getting fired. He's a great coach, but the guy's 72 years old. How long is he realistically going to keep coaching? He's not going to get fired. This guy's done a lot. He's won over 200 games. He's won a national championship. He's had a Heisman quarterback before. He's an elite coach, but he's going to retire. He's at the age to where guys just hang it up and say, that was my last year, thank you, and then they take it to the house. So at some point, within the next couple of years, Mac Brown will be retiring voluntarily. And when that opens up, that is the under-the-radar program. Do not sleep on the Tar Heels. It's an elite academic school, beautiful campus, beautiful city, good football program, an elite-level basketball program. So that school already has a lot of attention through the basketball program without Deion Sanders. What would they be if Deion Sanders shows up in town? That school would take off. Deion Sanders is from the East Coast. Why would he not want to come back to the East Coast? In the South, good recruiting, great program, beautiful stadium, beautiful uniforms, beautiful everything. To me, it's under the radar. Deion could take them to the next level, and they're in the ACC. There's not very many good teams there. So the schedule's set for him. The program has a lot of money, and it's a good program. So do not sleep on them. I think they are an under-the-radar number 2, and they're a step up from Colorado. So who's my number 1? I've not really heard anyone mention this, but it's the first team that came to me. The UF the Florida Gators. Billy Napier, really tough schedule this year. Yes, they just beat Tennessee. I don't see them making a bowl game this year. Great if they do, they go 6-6. Great, back-to-back 6-6 seasons. What's going to happen next year if they go 6-6? He's getting fired. So Billy Napier's not getting fired this year. No matter what, he will get one more year. And Deion will have had 2 years at Colorado. Maybe he leaves for year 3. So UF, Deion Sanders is from Florida. He's from Fort Myers. What bigger story than to have one of FSU's greatest players coach at Florida? Deion loves the headlines. That would be the biggest headline. He would own Florida. He would recruit well, NIL. Florida, to me, beats all of those other programs times 10. It's in Florida. Great place to live. Beautiful stadium. Beautiful campus. Recruiting. Money. Fan base. SEC money. What is else there to want? To me, Florida is a top 5 program. They've been completely off the rails since Meyer left, but when this team is hot, it's hard to compete with them because they don't have to leave their state to do anything. And to me, they have the best assets of the other programs in the state. Better than Florida State, better than Miami. Not saying that they're better than those teams, but they have the infrastructure to me to out battle those teams recruiting and football-wise. So I think that would be the number one landing spot is if Billy Napier gets fired next year after year 3, Deion can slide in there and be the head coach of the Florida Gators. That would be the biggest storyline in football. And Deion loves the primetime and the main storyline. So that's 5 potential landing spots for Deion Sanders, non-pro wise. Now, if he were to go to the pros, he's obviously probably just going to go to wherever his son gets drafted. But I think he wants to stay in college because he has said his main goal is to help the kids. The guys in the pros are not the kids. Those are full-grown men. He wants to stay in college because he thinks he can have a better effect on people's lives in college. Props to him for that. Now, with the Deion Sanders thing, this is the story of the year. You either like it or you hate it, but every college year has a story. This is the story this year, and it's the biggest story in college football for a while. So no matter whether you like it, whether you hate it, just embrace it and enjoy it. This is keeping the college football season from just being the regular old college football season. Bama, Georgia, Buckeyes, Michigan. No, there's something new. There's new, fresh blood. That's what college football is about. There's always something new happening. There's always something fun. So just embrace it because it won't be like that next year. There'll be some new storyline. So enjoy this while we can. That's my landing spot for Deion Sanders. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks.